committee finally set to facilitate takeoff for Ajaokuta Steel project.
Nasarawa missing baby. 3 arrested at Dalhatu Arab Specialist Hospital, Lafia.
Suspected extremists and kidnappers arrested in Buari and Tafa local government areas.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss the 2024 AFCON.
All right, indeed, it's AFCON week, and African footballing nations, of course, will be turning their attention this weekend to what is Africa's biggest football continental competition.
From the Super Eagles of Nigeria to the Lions of Cameroon, the Desert Foxes of Algeria, and the Pharaohs of Egypt, Africa's football kings will take center stage for the next 4 weeks in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire.
Indeed, 24 countries are participating in this tournament, and of course, I'm sure you do know that our own Super Eagles, of course, will be trying to see if they will make a 4th win of the Nations Cup since 1980, and they have already touched down in a very patriotic way in Cote d'Ivoire.
Did you say 1980?
Yes.
Well, Nigeria actually last won the title in 2013.
No, I know. I said since 1980. 4th win since 1980.
All right. So we're actually looking forward to the team doing great in this particular edition of the tournament. And I'm sure you remember in 2013 when the team won the title. It was led by our own Stephen Keshi, now late, and it's over a decade now. We just hope that the Super Eagles will really fly this time around.
Indeed, and just to say that actually I think it was Ahmed Musa who captained the team in 2013, and he also captained in the Super Eagles, again this year. And we do hope that he will bring his luck to bear again. But I keep holding my chest because those who have won the tournament trophy more times than Nigeria are also, in this competition. And you talk about, the likes of Cameroon, you talk about the likes of Cote d'Ivoire, Algeria, well, we'll get to know the fixtures later on. But just to let you know that since 2013 till date, again, a 3rd place finish at the 2019 edition that was in Egypt. And we've so far, struggled to either replicate or build the feats achieved, that's in 2013. But fortune seems to be smiling on us again, hopefully, as it stands. Super Eagles is home to some of the most valuable and informed players in the world. I remember 1994, and yesterday on this program, Chukwudi Okolukwaja and Jubaina were talking about, that glorious moment in 1994 when we lifted up that trophy. It was ecstatic.
All right. Looking at what possibilities that we have, looking at the likes of Victor Osimhen, of course, the best player in Africa. We have Ademola Lookman in the team. We have Calvin Bassey, Alex Iwobi, Umar Sadiq, all making the list this time around. Of course, hopes are high, and I'm sure fans and supporters alike are expectant of a 4th title, just as we are, right here this morning. But injury worries continue to plague the team, with the likes of Victor Boniface and Wilfred Ndidi, sidelined and out of the tournament.
In addition to the concerns for injuries, our last minute friendly was a very poor outing. And your rating is based on the performances that you put up, and we hear that some form of technological rating is not, favoring our own Super Eagles, but we don't believe in that. Like the team captain has said, everything is informed. The federal government has ensured that no financial issue, raises up its head. All, entitlements and money issues have been disposed. So they have no reason.
By the way, did you see the picture as they headed to Abidjan?
Yes, I did.
They looked like superstars.
Yeah,
and they are superstars.
They are superstars.
And they look,
some people, comments on the social media tended to make comic out of the dress mode, but I thought it was very patriotic. The colors were bright and beautiful. The green, the green, white, green cap and white, looked nice on them, and they looked like supermodels.
Okay, well, we just hope that they don't model on the pitch. They actually get to play the ball. So of course, the big question is with the Super Eagles actually saw high again and bring home the 4th title. But let's not forget that our rivals are also in this competition, like Claire already mentioned. If we meet Ghana again, are we going to be able to outdo them?
No. Ghana is not even our problem. All the times that other countries had won AFCON tournament, well, I know that when our guests come much later on, they will clarify. Had always been against Cameroon.
All right.
Always been against Cameroon.
Well,
so Cameroon.
Claire, don't you think you should go to the sports desk with all these details?
No, sometimes we tend to keep one ear to, and then of course be in tune with what is happening. Well, in the next few weeks, of course, of Football in Action, we'll be able to give us all the answers that we are posing here this morning. And today, that's why we're turning our searchlight on AFCON 2024. And as we all know, tomorrow is the D-Day, and Nigeria will be meeting Equatorial Guinea, I think, on Sunday. So, on this note, once again, I invite you to join us to go high on Good Morning Nigeria this Friday. It's the better good drink to start your morning.
Well, while you're going high
on Good Morning Nigeria.
On Good Morning Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's a Friday, by the way.
Yes.
And you said hi.
Yes, let's go high on Good Morning Nigeria. That's the best way to start your early morning.
My mind is actually going to so many places with the word hi.
Don't.
On a weekend.
That's why I qualified it.
Okay,
Good Morning
Nigeria.
Yes.
All right, I'm Henry John. Thank you for joining us. Of course, we'll be looking at all the details of AFCON with Jose Pesiro. Be able to take our team to the peak come AFCON, which begins tomorrow. All of those details you get to hear. By the way, we'll have our usual segments on the program this morning. We have our morning news. Of course, we have paper review and all other segments that are juicy. It's a high Friday on Good Morning Nigeria. And I've got Amina Seidu Abubakar here for the morning news. Amina, good morning to you. Are you feeling high this Friday?
I'm good. Hello, Claire and Henry. Good morning and welcome to the news.
High with highlights of the news.
It is hope rising for the Ajaokuta steel plant as President Bola Tinubu has approved that a committee of critical stakeholders be set to address issues that will facilitate the takeoff of the project that has dragged over decades. Minister of Steel Development Shaibu Audu disclosed this to State House correspondents after a private meeting with the President.
The reason the Minister of Defense and I jointly met with Mr. President was that we're setting up a military hardware capacity and capability in Ajaokuta steel plant. And based on that, the Chinese team would help us to build that military hardware capabilities in Ajaokuta in one of the production units.
Borno State government has expressed commitment to revive South Chad irrigation scheme to provide sustainable livelihood for resettled communities. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum made the commitment at Wulgo community in Ngala local government area during on-the-spot assessment of irrigation farms, where he also emphasized government's commitment to expanding irrigation activities along the shores of Lake Chad.
Water is not a limiting factor. Why should we waste our time even in developing many irrigation schemes in areas that we don't have water, while water is abundant here? It's easier for us to transport the communities here rather than to exploit the potentials of water there.
Troops of the Nigerian military have arrested suspected extremists and kidnappers in the Buhari Area Council of Abuja and Tafa in Niger State. Director of Defense Media Operations Major General Edward Buba announced this at the periodic news conference for update on ongoing military operations across the country. Details indicate that 40 kidnapped victims were rescued, 49 terrorists eliminated in combat, while 111 arrested in the last 7 days. Similarly, troops have arrested 30 oil smugglers, destroyed 60 illegal refining sites, 65 local boats, and 71 illegal storage tanks.
As I speak to you, operations are ongoing at those locations. In the last 1 week, we have arrested several of them, and they are providing intelligence to support our operations.
The Nasarawa State Police Command has arrested 3 persons in connection with a missing baby at the Alhato Arab Specialist Hospital, Lafia. The Commissioner of Police, Umar Nadada, disclosed this in Lafia while reacting to the development. The Supreme Court has affirmed Umo Enobasi as the duly elected governor of Akwa Ibom State. The 5-man panel of justices gave the order in a verdict read by Justice Abba Aji. The Apex Court struck out the 3 separate appeals brought before it.
What the Supreme Court has done has been to confirm that Pastor Moino is not only the governor of Akwa Ibom State, but that he has genuine certificates. I think that's the more important thing.
Similarly, the Supreme Court has reserved judgment on the appeal of the PDP challenging the re-election of Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun. The PDP and its candidates as appellants are challenging Dapo Abiodun's re-election on the ground that the Electoral Act 2022 was not adhered to, citing corrupt practices and issues of non-qualification in the conduct of the election. Counsel to the appellants, Chris Uchi, SAN, alleged that INEC ought to have conducted fresh elections in 99 polling units where elections were cancelled and not declared a winner. He said the return of the governor by INEC was unlawful and the election was wrongly concluded based on alleged corrupt practices. Abiodun Awoni Koko, SAN counsel for the first respondent, INEC, asked the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal. He maintained that governorship and presidential elections not determined only by margin of lead but by spread of votes in accordance with Section 179 of the 1999 Constitution. Wale Olanipekuns, SAN counsel for second respondent, urged the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal which challenges concurrent decisions of the 2 lower courts. After hearing the parties, the Apex Court 5-man panel chaired by Justice John Okoro reserved judgment to a later date. And that's it on News Highlights. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Claire and Henry after this break.
All right, welcome back. Let's have a bit on business.
Taxes are the primary source of revenue for most governments, and funds generated are spent to improve and maintain public infrastructure. A tax expert, Oji Philip Oji, is calling for some reforms in Nigeria's tax system, like the establishment of Independent National Tax Oversight and Ombudsman Commission. These, according to Oji, will reposition tax collection in Nigeria and ensure transparency. He said testimonies from countries that have carried out such reforms are quite convincing.
If the federal government could have the political will to shape our tax policy to suit the best global practice of taxation, and every other thing will fall in place, including security. I realize that with our market size advantage on VAT and consumption taxes that we are paying on daily basis, that if the tax revenue of Nigeria at the moment could be accounted for, that we shall surpass over 80% of our tax revenue ratio to our GDP. That excludes the untapped areas such as, 1, the international taxation of multinationals and international citizens that That alone, we are losing over $20 billion per annum.
Besides the endless benefits of tax reforms, the advocate of this proposal wants Nigeria to join international bodies that will unconditionally repatriate trapped Nigerian funds. With Business News, I'm Kunle Adeyeye.
All right, newspaper review is coming up in just a moment. Stay with us.
All right, our newspaper reviewer, Chukwudi Okoli-Ugbaja, is right here. Good morning to you, Chukwudi. Are you feeling high this Friday?
I'm always feeling high. Once I'm in this chair, I feel high. It's called the Good Morning Nigeria effect. You are the ones who actually pack it up on me, and I don't have a choice.
The Good Morning Nigeria effect.
Yeah, the Good Morning Nigeria effect. You keep on looking for payoffs. Why?
Because they come to you very easily.
Oh, well, that comes from writing the news for a long time. You know, when you write the news and you write it with a passion, at a point, words are at your beck and call. You don't have to think. They just flow in, and the prose is simply sweet.
All right, chicks, let's quickly start off with news review of the papers. And Daily Trust is leading this morning with security matters, and it says security beefed up as Kano Plateau. 6 other governors no fate today. CPs, others call for calm, winners and appellants upbeat, and the issues at stake. Now, if you look at the just on the left-hand column, that will be to your right, worry over 50% TSA deductions from aviation agencies. Details of that on page 23. And Edugate. Edugate. Don't spare anybody, Ubi tells Tinubu. Man arrested for stealing 20 cartons of Quran Hadith in Kwara. Now, this is very interesting. That story is on page 21. And ICJ hearing, South Africa wants Israel held accountable for genocide in Gaza. And just a little below the nameplate, village head, son, 8 others killed in Katsina is on page 21. Army denies allegation of poor feeding of troops, page 31. And bandits abduct 23 in the FCT. It's on page 12. Henry.
All right, let's begin with the Daily Times this morning. And the lead story here says, anxiety as Supreme Court delivers judgments in Kano, Plateau, Lagos, 4 other Guba posts today. All right, away from that particular story, we have this other story from the Daily Times. Obi calls for probe of Edu's collaborators. And then finally, from the Daily Times this morning, we have OT Kambas's joint military meeting with Southeast governors to curb insecurity. All right, so that's the much you can take from the Daily Times this morning. Looking at the Daily Sun now, we have Judgment Day for governors. I think I like this caption. Judgment Day for governors. Of course, the details on page 6 and 8. And bandits killed village head, 2 sons, 6 others in Katsina. Details on page 4 of the Daily Sun. We have a very not so good picture here of a science lab of Pangshim Government College, Plateau State, raised by fire yesterday. Below that, of course, the Edugate story is on all the papers this morning. And, of course, it's on the call not to spare anyone involved. Beside the picture story, we have Tinubu approves committee to revive Ajaokuta Steel Plant. 2024 budget, how we settled for 800 naira to dollar benchmark, and that's coming from the federal government. Finally, this morning, we have Sultan directs Muslims to watch out for new moon of Rajab. Details on page 8 of the Daily Sun. Chukwudi.
You called it Government Day. Okay, you actually said what you saw in the paper, Judgment Day for governors. And you're talking about 6 states. That's I think the time limit for deciding this case is almost up. That's why I think the 6 of them are being packed in, or practically into one carton of jurisprudence. Anyhow, the Kano, Zamfara, and Plateau cases are actually the ones that people are looking at as very interesting, you know. If you remember, Kano and Plateau states are cases of the lower courts, that's the appeal courts in this case now, you know, sacking the governors there. So you want to see whether the Supreme Court will ride with those you know. But at the end of the day, what we keep on saying, asking for, is that the pronouncement of the court is final. And whatever grievances you had, even after a judgment has been pronounced by the Supreme Court, you have to put a lid on it and see whether 2027 could do you better. No one wins all the time. Nobody does. However good you are, that's what you do. And being good actually can make you a lonely man, because people will tell you that the good man is usually a loner, you know? So whatever it is, let there be peace after the judgment today. It's very important that we adhere to that.
You know, and it will also,
very important.
It will also help to explain the, you know, so-called clerical errors. That's in the case of the Kano.
Definitely,
yes.
The men in the wig that sometimes terrifies
yes.
you know, make a pronouncement on that. Because what I like about the court people, even though sometimes their details put me off, I don't have a head for such lengthy details. They pick up even the pin in the haystack when they pronounce these, because they want to leave you completely convinced that it's been a nitty-gritty process.
You know, the courts, you know, held that the clerical error, the alleged clerical error, did not invalidate, you know, its
Supreme Court
judgment. But it will be the Supreme Court, yes, you know, that will give a final, you know,
whether
decision on
they
that.
Agree with
yes.
the lower court.
So that's a very fundamental, you know, issue that people will be looking out for. What would the Supreme Court? How would the Supreme Court, you know, give? Another one is Plateau. You know, Plateau is another very sensitive, you know, decision.
You don't want to feel the heartbeat of Caleb Mutfwang at this point, you know. But you see, the good thing about politicians is that they're not lily-livered like you and me.
Exactly.
That's why we stay on the sidelines and say these people. Sometimes I call them extra human beings. There's something I admire about politicians. They never say die.
You know,
yes.
It will be surprising.
Mm-hmm.
It will be surprising if I won't say surprising. I don't know which word now, but in the case of Plateau, I don't know.
Don't just say anything that contradicts the matter under judge.
And that's why
when you hear that the matter is under judge, that means that you have to be careful. You don't say anything that turns out sub judice.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly. So I think we should just leave those matters.
Exactly. I avoid court cases as much as I can.
But you know, this the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust report on the matter involving the should we say former Minister of Humanitarian? You know, she's been suspended. She's not
former yet, please.
Yes, so she's suspended. She's still suspended.
They could finish this affair and she's reinstated. You understand? So please, that's why I tell our fellow journalists out there, as much as you want to sell, Edugate to me is an overkill.
Yes.
Edugate, you've already decided it's Edugate.
Edugate.
You know, right from Watergate, the Nixon affair in the United States. People want to sell their newspapers.
Yes.
Sometimes the line is crossed in headlining.
I find some of the, you know, points. I'm trying to get that.
There's a community in Ahoada in River State where soldiers are said to have taken action that practically left the village vacated. People are afraid because 4 soldiers were killed and the driver also. What we are going to ask is that definitely when 4 soldiers get shot, you don't expect that the community will be handled with you know,
with kid gloves.
Kid gloves. Thanks for supplying that term. But even then, we still ask our soldiers to act within the rules of engagement. Very important. An overkill, a hammer blow on a fly might be something they need to avoid in a matter like this.
And I
it's very important.
I will say Ahoada again.
Ahoada, okay, you know rivers.
Ahoada again.
Yeah, Ahoada again.
You know.
Okay, so
that used to be, you know, one of the flashpoints area really, and very, you know, sensitive parts of River State, and I think the killing of soldiers. I mean, when will we stop this? When will we stop killing, you know,
I am tired of lambasting the continent because it's my continent. But you see, Africa hesitantly left tribal wars and decided that the war should be fought on other fronts. It's been something it's something we need to drop. And the way you do it is to see the other man as a fellow man. It's just maybe religion, tribe, and you know, that differentiate you. Otherwise, he is perfectly another man just like you. When you learn to think like that, you actually apply the brakes when you want to act in haste sometimes.
All right.
It's called being introspective. You know, you have to be introspective in life rather than acting with impetuosity, that is acting without sufficient thought. People have to learn to be introspective. Very important.
All right, I think we would, you know, leave, you know, the papers, the headlines, you know, at that point because of time, so we can move on to the main discussion for today. So we'll take a break. Many thanks, Chukwudi, for joining us again. We hope that you enjoy your weekend.
I hope to.
Service of the NTA. Before we begin our conversation on AFCON 2023, let's take this background report put together by Oyeyemi Ajayi.
The 2024 African Cup of Nations, known for short as the 2024 AFCON or CAN 2024, is the 34th edition of the biennial African Association Football Tournament organized by the Confederation of African Football. This time around, it's being hosted by Ivory Coast for the second time and the first time since 1984. This edition of the tournament was initially planned to be the third since 2019 to take place during the Northern Hemisphere summer in order to reduce scheduling conflicts with European club teams and competitions, but was postponed by CAF to 13th January and 11th February 2024 on the 3rd of July 2022 due to the adverse summer weather concerns in Ivory Coast. There are 24 national teams from the Confederation of African Football battling to be crowned king of the continent in this edition of the African Cup of Nations over the next month, which is to kick off on Saturday, 13th January 2024. The Nigerian Super Eagles will as well be participating after landing in grand style in Abidjan ahead of the commencement of the tournament. The Super Eagles opened their campaign against Equatorial Guinea on Sunday, followed by a clash with the host Cote d'Ivoire on January 18, and end the group campaign with Guinea-Bissau on January 22. Now, in the face of the Razzmatazz from Nigerian team, how prepared are they to win the title? Guests already seated in the studio will be discussing these issues and more shortly.
Well, Yemi, as the saying goes, the answer is blowing in the wind. But we'll be getting to know, in the course of the competition. But we are hopeful. We are hopeful. At least that's the feeling we get. So thank you very much for the background report. But we also have seated here in the studio football guru. We have a coach, we have a football analyst, and we have a mentor in this area of sports. So let me begin with the introductions. Abdul Rahman Ibn Mohammed is a familiar name, of course. One-time commentator, former GMNT Sports 24, and NT International Sports consultant. We're very glad to have him with us this morning. Thank you very much for finding time to join us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being on Good Morning Nigeria once again.
Also here with us in the studio, we have Jacob JJ Uyekale, a sports analyst, and not the JJ you're familiar with, but I'm sure you're familiar with this JJ in the studio. JJ, compliments of the season to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year, and thanks for having me in the studio. It's a pleasure.
It's Triple J Oyekale. I think that's what it will be, with the Jacob. All right. We also have with us here in the studio a sports journalist. He is the coach, Family Worship Champions Football Club. It's a pleasure to have Bumi Haruna join us for the conversation. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
All right, gentlemen, when it comes to football, I really don't know where to start my question. Is it the form? Is it, the fixtures? Is it, the squad and all that? But let me start with Abdul Rahman Ibn Mohammed. If you look at, our competitions, our performance prior to now, does that give you any strong hope for this Super Eagles squad?
I must be honest with you, Claire. This squad of the Super Eagles, I am not sure. From the deepest depths of my heart, I'm not so sure what we can deliver. Nigerians are used to being very, very hopeful. So in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping and praying that, yes, they can up the ante. But if we look at the composition of the team and the way they have managed to come to this stage, there are loads of questions. The technical savvy of the players, the individual skills of the players. We have some of the most talented. Indeed, it's been a very long while that a Nigerian became African Footballer of the Year. So if anything, we've got that in the team. And that should, play a role in, taking the optimism of the team that, yes, we've got this kind of assets, okay? But when you look at the handlers of the team, the man that has been saddled with the responsibility of tinkering the team, you begin to ask questions. A lot of Nigerians, led by some of the most, high-profile Nigerians who have played for this country, footballers of the highest caliber, did question why Nigeria was retaining our old coach, Gernot Rohr. And that, of course, things happened and Gernot Rohr was removed. But how this current coach, Peseiro, came in, and of recent revelations about how the contract was signed and so on and so forth, have laid bare the fact that didn't we jump from frying pan to fire by firing Gernot Rohr and bringing in Peseiro? Well, he has an opportunity now to prove whether he is better than Gernot Rohr or not. But frankly, the facts before us don't show that.
Exactly.
But anything can happen. And perhaps a fellow coach, Bumi Haruna, he's not only a journalist but also a qualified football coach, might have some more inkling about that. But for me, as Abdurrahman, I don't have the confidence to say that the Super Eagles will win this trophy. That's the only thing Nigerians want to hear. The Super Eagles will win. But I cannot open my mouth and say, yes, definitely this team, the way it is composed, the way it is being handled, can do the honors for Nigeria.
All right, Abdurrahman, I like the way you have given your analysis about, what the team is likely going to produce. But Nigerians, we know how to pray and fast. So now that you have said we may not win, but I want you to, pick up from where he has landed. Do you share the same, thoughts with what my GM has said? About the team. Do you think that Ose Pesiro has what it takes to deliver? Looking at the friendly we just played with Guinea, we lost 2-0. A lot of people are also worried. But are you hopeful that prayers and fasting would help?
Well, thank you very much once again. I must say, when it comes to prayers and fasting, it's all about your belief. It could be one of the routine for the team. And if that's the way Nigerians can support the team, I think they should do that. The Super Eagles deserve our support. They are our team, and irrespective of whatever has happened, the only thing we can do is to support them. We actually put some people there to choose players and also choose coaches for Nigerians, and they have done their bits, So our part now is to support the team. I don't think Ose Pesiro is the best coach in the world, but he's the one in charge now. So we need to support him with everything we have. We have a very good team, just like our GM has said, very, very good individual players, but in recent times we'll not be getting, the right results. Thank God we qualified for the Nations Cup. And I can tell you, the Nations Cup is not too difficult to win. Looking at the crop of players we have, it's something that could be done, even though on paper, we don't look like it's a team that can win it currently. Well, you go back to 2012, the Zambians were in, Buki's favorite to win. They won. And, now the number of participating countries have increased, to 24. It's a little bit more difficult. If it was, when it was still the same number, was it 16 or thereabout? I tell you, Eagles can just win it because you win your group games, then you are in the knockout stages, and from there, draw, penalty, shootout, and all the likes of it. In 2013, we did it. We didn't do well in the group stages. Led Stephen Keshi led us, to the trophy. I want to say Nigerians should, remain hopeful, support their team. Come on, we have the African Footballer of the Year, Victor Osimhen, and some of the best players you can talk about when it comes to the continent of Africa.
Was the first time Victor will be playing in AFCON? So.
Well, not the first time, actually. He was there the last time out. He just didn't play, regularly. He's very experienced. He's played in, the Champions League. He won the Italian Serie A with Napoli last season, and he's doing very well. He's still in the knockout stages of the Champions League. I'm not saying the team will rely solely on Victor Osimhen, but what I'm saying is this: we have the right to, remain hopeful. The African Cup of Nations is not the World Cup. Come on, this is Africa. Nigeria is giants when it comes to African football.
Triple J, I mean, Osimhen is just one individual.
Yes.
The other teams, all of them have individual super players, So, and just as Abdurrahman had indicated, he mentioned two very important factors that may impact on the performance of our Super Eagles. Yes, we have individual technical skills, but how those skills are coordinated and handled, and who handles those skills, is also very critical. And he has raised an issue which seemed to align with, recent prediction by AI that Nigeria is not even placed, on the first three list. AI is predicting that Senegal, again, might, come out top. Nigeria is number 6. But how do you analyze that?
Well, just as Bumia said, to correct that notion, Osimhen is playing his very first senior competition for Nigeria. He was knocked out by an eye socket injury on the eve of 2021 Nations Cup. But as you have said, the prediction, how the AI, that's artificial intelligence and everything, you look at form of a team, the composition of that team, and then you look at the key players. If you look at Morocco, for example, the last major competition they attended was the World Cup. and the performance was massive, retaining the same coach and almost the same set of players. Look at Senegal, they are the defending champion. Having the presence of the same coach that have been there for over 7 years, I think this would make his 9th year or so in the same team with the same crop of players developing together. And you cannot rule out Egypt that have bulk of their player playing in the same league in Egypt because of the standard of their league. It is difficult now to place Nigeria ahead of them based on statistics or profile. That is because a team is as good as its last results. Our last 3 results have been dismal. As a matter of fact, you question the formation or the pattern of play of the coach as if he's not familiar with the players. We parade some of the best assembly of legs, not only in African football, but in world football. Look at our strikers, for example. In France, we dominate. In Italy, we dominate. In England, our name will be one of the very first to be called. But playing as a team, we have players, but we don't have a very good team because the coach has not really played them as a team. For example, the pattern he has played the last few games, a team that is almost 100, ranked below Nigeria, came here to play. We even struggled to play them a draw. Simply put, you play 4 defenders, 2 midfielders, and 4 attackers. Who are those to provide passes for the attackers to score? The simple thing, even if you are not a football coach, for you to know is that when a player is performing very well, there must be reason or, there's circumstance for him to perform. Meaning that you need to play to the strength of these players. How does Osimhen play in his club side for him to get those number of goals? What position does he play? How does Lukman Ademola play in his club for him to get that number of goals? Chukwueze is now in AC Milan. How does he play? These are some of our star players. How do they play to get results? And again, if you don't have those needed players that are playing similarly with their club sides, there is a way you can now play your team, form your team to play better. Not
yes, thank you for the points that you have raised. Again, we seem to put the blame squarely, on the coach, on the coach, whose responsibility is to, harness the technical skills and all that. But what about the body that is responsible for hiring the coach? The local, assistants, the Nigerian assistants that are supposed to also work with the coach, are they not also, do they not also have a part to play in all of this? Is it because the coach is not a Nigerian, or is it because the coach has not studied or does not have the skill? What is it about this coach that we have been concerned about?
Well, traditionally, foreign coaches in Nigeria appear to have gotten the best of support from both the sports ministry and the NFF. And to buttress this point, only a week ago or so, we were told that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave approval for a whole backlog of monies being owed Jose Peseiro to be paid to him. This just shows that the foreign coaches get the kind of best support. But the point is that is being made about Peseiro is that how he did come in. And I want to raise this point that before we came on air, Oyekale was just reminding us that a scandal apparently, seemingly was blown by the revelation that every month a certain percentage of Pesero's salary goes to some people. That shouldn't be. Because if Pesero came in on his own merit, he doesn't need to give a dime to anybody.
But that's not been proved. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It's an allegation.
Yes.
But there's really no smoke without fire. Okay? So what is needed from Pesero and his core of assistants now is to harness, like JJ was saying, the talents available to him. We aren't short of talents, whoever the coach may be, but it is harnessing them. How do we, play Osimhen? What magic does he get from his fellow colleagues in Napoli to be able to deliver the kind of goals he delivered last season? Ademola Lookman with Atalanta, is it?
Yes, Atalanta.
What kind of magic, what kind of support is he getting from the coaching crew, from his colleagues? You see, you play to the strength of your players. It has been known that coaches would single out 2 or 3, efficient players and get others to play to the way they want. If Ademola Lookman and Osimhen don't get the requisite service, they can't deliver. If you don't have the ball where you should get it, you cannot deliver. And if you don't score, there's no way you're going to win a match.
All right. Listening to the conversation and, of course, the takeoff, you being pessimistic about, the way the Super Eagles will play, and listening to Bumi, he's quite optimistic. Oyekale is just at the middle trying to play, just being there.
Yanre, let me take you on this. Let me just put this clear. Pessimistic might be too hard. I'm a patriotic Nigerian, yes. Right?
It's just stating the facts.
One of us here alluded to the fact that in 2013, the Eagles didn't play. We were all, in the first one or two matches.
That's actually my question.
And I was actually fortunate to have led the NTA's team to the coverage of that event in South Africa. Maybe the fortunes of the Eagles, turned by our arrival because the NTA crew arrived late. But the moment we arrived, I think the first match we witnessed was the one against Mali. I think we won that game 4-1. Okay? Maybe we would have a scenario like this. You never can tell. But it has to be stated that we have the abundance of talent. No question about that. How do we manage that talent? That is the task before us.
Is the problem. Okay, yes, that of course is a continuous conversation, or if you like a continuing conversation, away from AFCON, of course, is something that has been, the issue for our football and of course other sports in this country. Yeah. But looking at the AFCON now and the teams that have made it to AFCON, which begins tomorrow, if we don't stand a chance, what teams do you think are likely going to be our biggest threat in this competition, and why?
Sorry, can I just thank you? Please keep that question. But just to take another angle, talking about the capacity of the coach to be able to handle, or harness the technical skills. I'm of the opinion that if he wasn't able to do so, before now, the Super Eagles have played, matches. The last friendly against Guinea, should have, shown the world whether or not this is the coach that should take us to AFCON. So why did you are laughing, coach? You understand?
I'm not laughing actually.
Yes.
I just understand what you're trying to say.
Yes.
But football and getting results is a process. Now, if we want to go back to when Nigeria has been very successful, under Bonfrey Joe, under Clement Westerhoff, they had time. They had time. Jose Pizarro is just over a year in charge of the Super Eagles. And now, he has a disadvantage. He doesn't stay in Nigeria. He doesn't know Nigerian football. That's his problem. Nigerians want to resolve.
Bumi, his employers should insist that he stays in Nigeria.
Exactly.
But the fact remains that he's still not as, I don't think he needs more time. And the thing is, there is no time. And that's why I keep saying, for me, I preferred a local coach, because we have a whole lot of them. But for me, it's just not right to start discussing the coach when we have a major tournament. Exactly. We should focus and support the coach, because irrespective of whatever happens, he's going to be the coach. We should be pointing out what we think he should do. That's what I think he should be doing.
I have a contrary opinion. Okay. They are in the competition, but ours is for us to tell you the strength, the weakness of the team, and even the coaches. An unanswered question. No, an unanswered question that what has been the role of his Nigerian assistant? I think that would have answered some of the questions. Now, the thing is, what is the terms of contract this coach signed, and what is the power being given to the coaches? I want to take one clear example, our goalkeeper's coach. There was a particular match that the goalkeeper's coach was not even allowed to sit on the bench. He was with the fans at the stand. The Nigerian goalkeeper coach. You understand? He was on the stand, not on the bench. Meaning that there is a problem. Yes. And we have a goalkeeper that has been fumbling. And I even question the profile of the goalkeeper coach that was taken to the Super Eagles camp. That was because Ike had issues with the coaches and with the NFF, and before you know it, he was there was a statement that they are rotating the coaches, which personally I wasn't satisfied with. In this country, we have high-profile goalkeepers that has kept to the highest level, from Peter Rufai to Aloy Agu Ikeshurum, and even of recent, Vincent Enyama. One of them could have been the goalkeeper coach. Even if...
But Vincent says he doesn't... Talking about this now. But Vincent has said he's not interested.
If Vincent is not interested, Ike is there. Peter Rufai has never, for once, been engaged to the Nigerian national team.
My question is, why are these issues just coming up now? I mean, it's just, we just have ours today to AFCON. I mean, we should have corrected it before AFCON. I mean, if we wanted to be in it to win.
Exactly what I'm saying. We need to support the team now. If anything happens after the AFCON, then we review.
No, I think we still need to make it clear, because these issues, you know, are not just being raised.
Well, you see, yes, the point is this.
They're not just being raised.
Whatever we are discussing here would actually not, to my mind, be of any effect on the coaches, on the NFF, and the team. We are just voicing out our concerns so that we don't have misplaced optimism.
Exactly.
Nigerians...
Great expectations.
The only language Nigerians understand is win. Is Nigerians participants, winning laurels for the country.
What happened to the statement in football that anything can happen? Because I remember growing up as a young girl.
Exactly.
I've watched matches. I mean, you see a team doing poorly. First half is gone. Second half, and then you have like 10 minutes.
I've just given us an example of what happened in South Africa in 2013. There is no hard and fact prediction that don't mind AI, that the Super Eagles will not make it. With the crop of players that they have, with the amount of talent that they have, who says they can't make it? They could. They were just being realistic, opening up what are our realistic chances. Precisely. And football is not always, like you said, a team could play terribly badly in the first half, and in the last 5 minutes, will win.
We saw that with the Daman miracle.
In 1972, for viewers who would be older to remember, Bendel Insurance was playing Mighty Jets Football Club of Jos in the final of the 8th FA Cup at the then Onikon Stadium. Bendel Insurance led by 2-0, and people were just walking out of the stadium, or it's a done deal. And suddenly, the late Sam Garba Okoye scored 2 goals within the last 5 minutes. And the match was stalemated.
The Daman miracle,
yes,
remember?
The Daman miracle. It's the Super Eagles, the Flying Eagles were 4 goals down against the Soviet Union. And in 4 minutes, I mean, the second half.
Second half, we had 4 goals.
4 goals.
It was the third and the equalizing goal that was really amazing, because the ovation that greeted the third goal had hardly died down when Nduka Ugbadi scored the equalizing goal.
That the squad was a 100 squad. And we had a coach that knew how to harness the different skills. Let's also not forget, that squad is different from the squad we have today. We have individual skilled players, but we're having sourcing the right person to harness these skills. Ab initio, not now. But as we are all saying, you know, the Super Eagles are in Cote d'Ivoire.
And Jose Peseiro is your coach. But I'm also thinking, Bumi, maybe you can help me explain this. Is it not possible that the players themselves can coordinate what they do on the field of play? If we have a wrong coach, I mean, you could have. In a home, you could have a bad head, like maybe a father, but maybe the mother and the children are able to coordinate themselves, and things may still go on. You're a coach, so do you think that if truly there's a problem with the coach and maybe those who are the technical part of the team, can the players put themselves together? Like if there's a determination on their part, like we want to deliver, is it possible? Are we going to see that miracle?
Yes, it's very much possible, because they are the ones that will execute the plans, though I know the role of the coach. Exactly. If I remember, qualification for the 1998 World Cup, I think it was the last game against Kenya in Lagos. Philippe Trouzier was the Nigerian coach then, and there's a particular formation he loves to play. But on that day, Sunday Olise said after the coach had done everything, speaking to they decided themselves that, look, we aren't going to play 3 at the back. We want to play 4-2, and that was what they played, and they defeated Kenya 3-0. It happens, but don't forget the coach will choose the players that are going on the pitch, so that's the caveat to it. Well, in all these, I have this belief that the Super Eagles will perform, probably not win the Africa Cup of Nations, because for the results coming into this Nations Cup does not show that we probably are going to win it. But again, I want Nigerians to go there. It's not just about winning. After all, since the AFCON, the inception, this is the 34th edition. We've only won it thrice, you understand? And for me, the Nations Cup is here. We can correct everything, we can start thinking about correcting things after the Nations Cup. I want to beg Nigerians to support the team, support Osimhen. You love him, you watch him, in his club side. Why not in the green, white, green? Why not support him in the green, white, green? We have a coach who doesn't know much about African football, doesn't know much about Nigerian football, and that's my grounds with the Nigeria Football Federation, where we have former players who are well qualified. For example, Emmanuel Amunike, very good, won the Under-17 World Cup for Nigeria. Why didn't you take the chance with him? You understand? We pay a coach, $70,000 US, when we could pay Nigerians probably 10,000, 20,000, and then we get the job done. You look at Amunike and some other coaches, Manu Garba and the likes of them, great coaches, but we prefer to go for a foreign coach. Fine. Please, let's support the team and let's see where they get to.
I think a little addition to what he said. For players to be able to change formation, you need leaders in the team.
Yes.
Who are the leaders in the present team that we have? That would be it. Because in the days of Stephen Keshi, my chairman will bear me witness. These are players that can take decision on the. In fact, they would tell the coach that, look, coach, this and this, let's do this, let's try this. But these days, there are no leaders in the present team. Nobody that can call the bluff of anybody. Balogo that was trying to speak out and talk on behalf of the team, he has been axed from the team now.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And Ahmed Musa is now the team lead. He's asking for support. He says that they're all positive. They will approach every game with a positive mindset. But let's move on. Maybe after maybe 1 or 2 games, if we see how the Super Eagles progress, we'll be able to now talk more on the other gaps. But let's look at the fixtures. Nigeria is in Group A against Cote d'Ivoire, against Guinea-Bissau and Equatorial Guinea. And our first match will be with Equatorial Guinea on Sunday. Abdurrahman, Cote d'Ivoire is a strong team. Are we likely to top our group?
I think we will pull through to the second round. It's power that Nigerians are used to of our teams. But when the chips are down, because the talents are there, like you are saying, Ahmed Musa has given the assurance that the players will play with 100% determination. I think the team will qualify for the second round. And if they hit the right buttons, if injury spares them, because it's unfortunate, some of the people we are hoping would be relied upon, Victor Boniface, on an unfortunate situation, because his star has been on the rise in his German Bundesliga team, only for him to crop an injury. So the task is going to be left for people like, of course, obviously, Osimhen. We understand Sadiq Umar also has cropped an injury. But if the players are lucky with injury on the field, I think by and large, they know that their own reputations are at stake. The nation's reputation is at stake. I think we will scale through from our group.
All right, scale through. Of course, I'm hopeful. You know, there's this slogan in town, no grief for anybody. If the Super Eagles no grief for any of the teams right there in Cote d'Ivoire, they may just spring up a surprise and, do magic. But what other areas do you think that the Super Eagles, really need to look out for? I tried to mention about teams that, are threats, to the Super Eagles achieving their dreams in AFCON 2023. Maybe you want to speak to that, and then what other things do you think the team needs to put together away from what we've mentioned? That's the coach and then the technical part of it. What other things you think is required for the team to do great?
Well, one area I think the Eagles have not really done well is analyzing their opponents. I'm an analyst. I sit back, spend about 9 hours, 10 hours trying to analyze Super Eagles opponents, and I sit down and watch the Super Eagles play, and I found out that they don't even know their opponents, as much as I do. And, that's surprising to me, because we have a coach who is supposed to be an expatriate. I think they need to do more. If he doesn't have an analyst attached to the team, they need to do more. For example, the game we played against Lesotho, consistently, Lesotho have used that particular pattern for, corner kicks. And in their few games they played in the Kosafa, region, they scored a couple of goals from there, that particular routine. And I'm surprised the Eagles still considered, from that kind of, set piece, that ways you could have stopped that. So these are some of the things I think the Eagles need to be better at, and the coach being able to put the players in the right position. For example, in that game also, I think it was in the return leg, he had Alex who will be playing very deep when he will be probably should be playing, up front, further up front to, add goal threat to the Super Eagles. So these are some of the areas. And eventually, I also heard that the coach was trying a new formation few days to the Africa Cup of Nations. Come on, you already have a way of playing. You understand? Don't be distracted. Don't be distracted. Focus on it and try to achieve with it. Then if there is a reason for you to tweak, you can tweak. But not like on the eve, you're saying the reason why you lost against Guinea was because you're trying out something new. It needs to focus. Nigerians love football. Nigerians can do anything for football. We will not forgive him if Nigeria do not perform well. Yes, that's the truth. Whether he's still a Nigerian coach or in the future, we will see him and we'll talk about him. So he should focus and give Nigeria success or victory.
All right, Bumi, when I saw your name, Haruna, it reminded me of Haruna Ilerika in those days, and all that. But thank you, gentlemen. Let me just put this discussion on hold and quickly join our correspondent. The Supreme Court, we told you earlier on, is to deliver judgment in some governorship appeals today. And our judiciary correspondent, Dile Atumbi, is right now at the Supreme Court. and he joins us live. Dele, good to have you with us, and good morning, Nigeria. Quickly tell us how many of the appeals have been decided today by the Supreme Court, and what's the situation like right now?
Thank you, Claire. Eight verdicts will be delivered today, and which has to do with governorship elections. And don't forget that about 2 weeks ago, the issue of Kano matter came up, and underbration was taken. And after the underbration of the council, the courts reserved judgment on this matter. And it is not only going to be only Kano matter that will take place today. That of Bauchi, Abia, appeal on Lagos governorship elections, Zamfara, Plateau, Ebonyi, and Cross River State. Though the 8th will be taken today, and the panel is led by Justice. The 5-man panel of justices is led by Justice Iyang John Okoro. And let me equally say this, that whatever is decided on Kano today, it is a matter that will expand the electoral jurisprudence of this country. For instance, the issue of unstamped ballot papers, would that invalidate the valid vote casts? And beyond that, can the panel at the trial court sort out and count the ballot papers themselves without the parties around in the chambers? So these are some of the things that will be decided in Kano matter. Like one of the counsel said, he said, my lord, though in Pidgin, that motor jam, police arrest conductor. Can the governor of the incumbent governor of Plateau, Kano, can he be punished for the fact that some ballot papers were not signed, which was supposed to be done by INEC? So these are the issues that the justices would definitely take a critical look at the appropriate time, and in the next few minutes, this court will deliver judgment on Kano, Bauchi, Plateau, and some other states.
State will be Plateau, you know, to look out for. What are the states?
Taking a look at the state, we have Kano, Bauchi, Abia, Lagos, Zamfara, Plateau, Ebonyi, and Cross River State.
So what are the fundamental issues, as in with the case of Plateau? That's another state that a lot of focus will be on.
If you are taking a look at Plateau, it has to do with pre-election matter, in which there was a court order, which the High Court of Plateau State gave an order that they should go back to their congresses, that they should do their nomination afresh. And with that, the argument in the court now, which the appellant, who is the governor of Plateau State, is that they adhere strictly to the order of the court by reconducting their congresses, and that the party has a structure. Because the matter before Plateau, before the Court of Appeal, which made the Court of Appeal to nullify the election of the governor, was that there was no proper congresses, and that the party, PDP as at that time, had no structure in Plateau State. However, the governor, who is the appellant, is arguing otherwise, that they reconducted their congresses and the primaries, and that the party has a structure as at the time of the conduct of the election. Don't forget that an individual cannot stand for election in Nigeria. The truth of the matter is that the person must be sponsored by a political party. You must belong to a political party, and you must be sponsored by a political party. So that's an issue. and is a serious issue at that. And if you take a look at Section 72, Sub 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that is what is therein, that anybody that is contesting governorship election must be sponsored by a political party, and he must belong to a political party. And don't equally forget, in the issue of Kano, that membership is equally an issue. It is a serious matter because it's a constitutional issue.
Okay, I'm just wondering, whatever the Supreme Court decides today, again, will widen our knowledge, our legal knowledge, as in the case of Plateau, isn't it?
That's true when it comes to the issue of sponsorship of candidates and who has the right to sponsor a candidate, and the structure of a political party is equally important.
All right, many thanks, Dele Atubi. Could you just give us a sense of what the Supreme Court is like at the moment, looking at the kind of judgments that it intends to give today?
Well, the truth of the matter is that the security atmosphere here is very tight. It's a watertight security. One of the parties in the matter, who is the governor of Bauchi State, just came in, and the security arrangement here is very, very tight. And if you take a look at the courtroom, I've been to the courtroom. The courtroom is equally scanty because they screen virtually everybody that should come in, and not to jeopardize the interest of anybody that is entering the court, because eight verdicts in a day is not a joking matter, and this one will go a long way to expand the electoral jurisprudence of Nigeria.
All right, many thanks, Dele Atumbi. Of course, all eyes, all ears are, glued, or if you like, everybody is waiting to see what the Supreme Court will do today. But I just want to, hear your thoughts, looking at what the appeal courts, the kind of verdicts we've gotten from the appeal courts, and of course the clerical errors, and some of the issues that have been raised about our judiciary system. Do you think that faith will be restored on the judiciary system today?
Let me say this, point blank, that the Supreme Court is a procedural court, and as the highest court in the land is expected to carry out substantive justice at every point in time. I do not have any doubt in the fact that the five-man panel of justices will do justice to all the matters. And if you take a look at the integrity of these justices, especially Justice Emmanuel Agim, from his antecedent, and Justice John Iyango Okoro, from their antecedent, you will know that they've been given sound judgments that have not been controversial. And this one too, I do not have any doubt that the justices will not do justice to all the matters before them. I'd earlier said that there are many issues which will be decided on the issue of Kano State governorship election, and it will go a long way in deciding the future of electoral process in the country.
Dele Atumbi, our judiciary correspondent, we'd like to thank you, and
we'll join you much later.
Yes, much later. We do hope to get more, stories from you. Dele, thank you.
Thank you, John and Claire.
John and Claire, indeed. Where's John? Okay, yes, all right. Okay, you're John. Henry John, yes, yeah, so he's right. All right, let's continue with our conversation. And I'd like to.
By the way, is there a sports court? We just left the Supreme Court now. Is there shouldn't we have a sports court where some of these issues are, we're raising? I mean, are judged.
There should be a court of arbitration for sports. But of course, the Nigerian sporting authorities have been, dodging, I think, the issue. The last 2 or 3 ministers, I think, at some point in time, a special committee was set up to give recommendations, and some of the people who participated in that committee included Adokia Messimaka, the famed footballer where fans love to call Chief Justice Adokia Masimaka. We had the likes of Dudu Orumen, a famed football analyst and lawyer, Osasu Obayuwana, a leading journalist. All these sound minds, you know, did a report and submitted to the ministry. But the report has never seen the light of day. I personally, I think, took up the matter with the last sports minister, Chief Sunday Dare, but somehow it never came out. So in effect, your question is, yes, there is ideally supposed to be a court of arbitration for sports in Nigeria, just like it is. We have one, as at the moment, I think, one of our leading athletes, the hurdler, Tosin Tobia Amusan. In fact, her case is being listed by the Court of Arbitration for Sports at the international level. You remember the World Athletics tried to ban her from participating on the allegation that some of her samples tested positive.
No,
before
she missed
a test. She missed a test, okay, out of competition test, and she has built her alibi upon which eventually she was allowed to take part in the World Championships. But the World Athletics is still pursuing, the integrity unit of World Athletics is still pursuing the matter, and I think it has been listed as one of the earliest to be had this year by the International Court of Arbitration for Sports. So in effect, the question you're asking, the answer is yes.
Yes. All right, thank you, Abdurrahman, for that. In 2 minutes left before we take our break, I'd like us to look at Super Eagles' encounter with Equatorial Guinea, with the, how do you call their team? Is it SEAL?
No, it's the Guinea that is Silly Stars.
Guinea that is Silly.
Okay. The Equatorial Guineas are called, what are they called?
I can't remember exactly, but
because I can't remember.
You know, there are some names.
If you can't remember,
Teranga Lions, Senegal.
Oh, Senegal.
There are some names that don't ring bells.
If you can't remember, who am I to remember? So I don't feel guilty. But let's look at the, our meeting with them. I don't know, judging again, deducing from our performance, in the last editions and Equatorial Guinea's performance, obviously they were better rated. They were better rated than the Super Eagles. So, with the likes of Ndidi and Victor out, what are our chances?
I don't quite get you. Why would you say Equatorial Guinea are better rated than the Super Eagles?
Well,
maybe
I think don't mix it up. There is Guinea.
Sorry.
There is Equatorial Guinea. There is Guinea-Bissau. But
there are three Guineas.
All the three Guineas, they are not matched to Nigeria in any
cause.
Yeah.
All the three Guineas, even add them together and make them a team, they cannot stand the Super Eagles. Join the three Guineas together, whether the Silly National of Guinea.
But Guinea beat us in the friendly.
Yes, that is the Guinea you are talking about.
Yeah,
that is.
No, you are saying join all the Guineas.
I still stand by it. Join all the Guineas.
You see, Claire,
when you are playing
the Guinea Silly Stars that beat the Super Eagles,
yes.
If we look back at history, excuse me for looking back at history, experience does count. The Guinea Silly Stars, they have a pedigree because at some point in time, they produced some of the best footballers in Africa. Papa Kamara, Abubakar Titi Kamara, and so on and so forth. But over the years, their graph has kind of seemingly dropped. And for now, in terms of availability of stars with talents, even the Silly Stars cannot match the Super Eagles. But of course, that is on paper. When you play, like the last result has shown, they show that they can compete with us.
But not to take anything away. Not to take anything away. They have two very, very, very good players now. Gorassi, that is really burning the field in Germany. And also the former Liverpool player, Naby Keita. They are two very good players. But compare them, Gorassi to Osimhen, I mean,
that's a golf.
In just 60 seconds before we go and break, on this matter.
On this one, you really can't say the match that the Super Eagles will win, but what I can tell you is this. When you think the Eagles can't do anything, that's when you see the best of them. So I won't be surprised if they lose to Guinea and beat the rest of the teams, you know. But when they start winning well, that's when I will be, you know, concerned. You know, yes, I'll be concerned because they get to, you know, slip back, or, you know. Complacency comes in. So I expect a tough game, probably a draw, something that will wake them up to help them find their potentials. So anything can happen with the Super Eagles. That's what I believe.
All right. Anything can't happen with us. We're going to come back after this break. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. It's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. Of course, our conversation is on AFCON 2023, but we're taking a look at the situation at the moment as we expect judgment from the Supreme Court as regards the governorship election in 8 states. So we go straight to Kano now. We have our correspondent there, Abdullahi Mustafa, just to give us a feel of what Kano is like at the moment as we respect the judgment from the Supreme Court today. Abdullahi, if you can hear me. All right, I'm sure we'll get that right, and Abdullahi would give us a sense of the situation, or if you like, you know, the feel in Kano as the governorship appeal, which is one of the appeals to be decided by the Supreme Court, is taken today. Abdullahi, I think you can hear me now.
Here.
Abdullahi, this Friday morning, is it the same as other Fridays in Kano? What's the situation there?
Honestly, yes and no. Yes, because people have already started coming out for their daily engagements, and yet people are anxious to see or to know what is going to happen with regards to the final judgment regarding the March 18 governorship election here in Kano State. And many people decided not to come out. And as you can see, this road, this is a junction. Behind me is State Road. And close to me here is the Kano Government House and Ahmadu Bello. Very strategic, but not too many vehicles are plying the roads. And as promised by the police, strategic locations are being guarded by officers and men of the command and other sister security agencies. And of course, it's a normal day, as I said earlier, and it's unusual because not everybody is going about his business, especially those not with who do not own means of transportation, for the fear of what is going to come out of the Supreme Court decision, rather. So this is actually the decision. The security, the police is keeping to its words of ensuring security of lives. You can see all over the major streets, patrolling the streets, and strategic places like this place, you can see police, if the cameraman can pan, you can see that they are stationed there in front of the government house. This is the main entrance to the Kano Government House. That is the place in contention, the two parties. So the Supreme Court is going to decide who will be the occupant of the house for the next 4 years. So this is the situation for now. You can see others are coming out. So this is exactly what is happening at strategic places here in Kano, like public buildings, places of public gathering, and major streets here in Kano as at this morning, since as early as 7 o'clock that we are coming to the office. This is the situation in Kano.
If you were to give your opinion as regards the atmosphere in Kano right now, would you say there's calm, or if there's tension? You know, what's the feel like, you know, for you?
I can say uneasy, calm. Going around the city, you see people going about their normal business. That is those who come out, who decided to come out. And all schools have opened, and some businesses also started to open as well. But since yesterday when I talked to some people, they decided not to come until the verdict is announced, so that to see what is going to happen. And that may be likely due to what happened on the judgment day of the lower court here in Kano, that is the Election Petitions Tribunal. There was some pockets of violence in some places before the police came in, and that's why the police command decided to arrange to bring together the two parties to sign peace accord, and which even yesterday the police commissioner invited them to affirm that accord, to stand by it, but to ensure security, because not necessarily those maybe that are involved in the violence during the tribunal judgment we are not representing the political parties, or we are not on the instruction of those political parties. So that is what many people fear, and what the decision taken by the police has worked during the appeal court judgment day. Nothing happened. Everybody was going about his normal businesses, and of course, like today, on that day, not everybody come out until after the judgment, and they have seen the condition of the town. There was no violence, so we expect same today, even though this is the final decision with regards the March gubernatorial election here in Kano State.
Abdullahi, thank you. In fact, you've just touched on the area I wanted to ask you. That's what the people themselves are feeling, and what might be the reactions when the Supreme Court decides on the case later on, today. Kano is a very politically upbeat state, and everyone has their ears to the ground. Anything can happen at any time. But thank you, Abdullahi, for the information that you have given us, and we will keep linking up with you for updates.
Okay, thank you, Claire.
All right, let's come back to the studio and again talk about our chances at AFCON 2023, and let me again begin with Abdurrahman. We went to Cote d'Ivoire on Wednesday. We got to Cote d'Ivoire on Wednesday. There was no training. The coach, of course, said the subsequent training was, he termed it recovery training and all that. Now, if we look at, we've all said we will, advance to the next stage. Getting to round 16 has been, our, greatest achievement within the past few tournaments. Are there, regardless of what you think, are we likely to break that record? Are we likely to go beyond the round of 16 with the kind of, teams that we have and the forms, we see?
Well, Claire, you see, the Super Eagles have become, over the last couple of years, become really unpredictable. During the tournament in Cameroon, the Super Eagles played so well, topped their group, and it was thought that they were going to stroll over from the second round and then go on to perform some wonders. It never came to be. That was when Austin Eguavoen was the acting, coach. So it is difficult to say what they can do. Like the coaches and the analysts have said here, a team is as good as their last match.
Game.
The last match of the Super Eagles, not so good. Losing to the silly Stars. Now they will be playing Cote d'Ivoire, the Elephants. They will be playing Equatorial Guinea. You wanted to know what their nickname is. They are called the National Thunder.
Guinea, the national elephant?
No,
Guinea-Bissau.
Okay.
Guinea-Bissau, the African wild.
So what are they going to do? And we should also remember that they did lose to one of their group opponents, Guinea-Bissau, here in Nigeria. Mamo Baldé scored that one goal. So they have a mission of vengeance against Guinea-Bissau. Now, this becomes a matter of national pride. Do they have what it takes? in terms of availability of talent, the coaches have seen it all, the journalists have seen it all. It's there. Osimhen and the rest of them. Yes, Ndidi may be out. Victor Boniface may be out. But hell, we have Iheanacho, we have Osimhen, and the rest of them.
Yes,
what remains is for them to be able to harness all this into a workable team so that they can do the needful.
Is that even possible at this time?
It is possible.
If you look at the replacements, some of them have not even joined it.
Murphy and co should be joining them. They should be.
So what time do they have to even play as a team?
They should be on their way.
The problem started from when the team list was released. FIFA and CAF asked every federation to bring a list of 27 players. I wouldn't know where the problem was. We released 25 and injuries started coming in. So we are forced. Had it was a 27-man list, we could have even do with 25 man if two get injured. Now, the structure is when invitation get to clubs late, they themselves have the bureaucracy of working before a player is released. Like we were told now that Terran Murphy will be released after our first match. And now, Sadiq Umar's case too is beginning to get dicey. He has not trained at all.
So Iheanacho is not even, we are not even sure of if it's 100% fit.
In your own view, JJ, considering these bottlenecks that could come to play in the release of players, and then what they did in releasing the list of those to go to AFCON 2023, and from the allegation that you did mention here about the coach, do you think that these players were selected based on other things, not on competence on the field of play, or you think that there's some form of game going on with those who are to decide the players, because away from these players, I'm sure that in our local league we have players that have done well, right? That probably maybe before now we could have thought about bringing up for this particular game. So in the picking of players, do you think that competence on the field of play is what is looked at, or other issues come to play?
Well, I'm not the coach, and I'm not a member of NFF. But what I'm saying now should have been the work of the technical committee and the technical department of the NFF, and now the technical director of the NFF. But from the way everything went, we don't know their input in that thing, because personally, on my own now, I still question the list of goalkeepers that were, because there is a particular boy in Israel that has been doing very, very well, knowing that we are having problem with the goalkeeping department. That is Adebayo Adeleye. He's been doing very, very well. Well, a goalkeeper was picked from the Nigerian domestic league. But the other question is he the best goalkeeper in the domestic league? That is a very big question. That's Olorunleke Ojo. Again, this could have been an avenue, even if it's a learning process or a confidence boosting process. If you are now inviting 25 foreign-based players, give the 2 other slots to domestic players. But that does not take away the fact that we need to seriously and deliberately work on our own domestic league to raise the profile again. Because I must tell you, to be in the national team, you must justify your inclusion by merit. Because if you bring every player, okay, in football and in a team, you have departments. In the goalkeeping department, those coming from overseas, are they better than those at home? The defenders, those coming from overseas, are they better at home? Or could we look at some point that, okay, this is African football, you need to be combative?
Yes, please, end your thoughts.
Do we have those that could do the job? Okay, the midfield, this is African football, you need this mechanical pressing. So those are some points, but everything should be based on merit. And
okay. Now I have to interject because we're running out of time. Before I bring in Abdulrahman, Haruna, what kind of team leadership do we expect from Ahmed Musa?
Well, there are different kind of